Hey, this came in today. It means a lot, actually, thank you. Corton de Viart, an aristocrat from Brussels, possibly the illegitimate son of King Leopold II, would spend time in England, Belgium, of course, and Egypt due to his parents' divorce. In a totally rational choice, he chose to quit studying in Oxford and went to South Africa for the Second Boer War, where he was promptly shot in the stomach and groin and sent back to England. His dad was mad, but who really cared, because de Viart didn't. He went back to South Africa again in 1901, but transferred to India in 1902, curbing his favorite sport of pig sticking. And he called this time of his life the heyday, because even though he fought for the Brits, he was still Belgian. And then he renounced his Belgianity and became British. Then he became a captain, but the price was too much, as he was sent to Somaliland, the beautiful country it is, helping with administration, and that's where our story begins. This is where de Viart was when the First World War started to flare. But the British were already fighting Mr. Matamula. When de Viart got out of the truck, he was greeted with 2 bullets to the face, 1 in the eye and 1 in his ear. He then visited the quiet Western Front, where he commanded 3 battalions and a brigade. He got shot 7 more times. At the Somme, he took 1 to the skull and ankle, got hit in the hip at Passchendaele, leg at Cambrai, and his ear again in Arras, and then having to manually remove his fingers after a doc said they were fine. They were not. Finally, after seeing the amount of abuse this man had endured, he was sent to a nursing home to live comfortably. They gave him a Victoria Cross, but he didn't like that. So when the war was ending, he helped run the British Army as Brigadier General, then regained his Belgianity when he was appointed to the Officer of OC, or Order of the Crown. After winning some more awards, he went to be a general one last time. I will give you the first-hand account.
Cold shivers went down the back of everyone in the brigade, for he had an unsurpassed record as a fire-eater, missing no chance of throwing the men under his command into whatever fighting happened to be going.
After the First World War, he helped Poland try to talk the Ukrainians out of beating them up, as all of Eastern Europe was already doing. It didn't go well, but Britain couldn't care less. He would report to his superiors, they would laugh, and go on about their business. So at one point he goes to a little-known man, Winston Churchill, who told him,
"That is what we're going to try to do."
Whatever that meant, but it was in support of Poland, de Viart could tell. However, the Red Army was at the gates of Warsaw, and de Viart was on his train for observation, to which the Red Cavalry wanted to try their luck, and de Viart fought them off with a revolver after tripping off the train and reboarding, of course. You could only do so much with a bad leg and bad ankle. And no eye. And no ear, and he would retire from the military in 1923 and lived a happy life, saying that he had enjoyed the war all the while. Until his home in Poland was contacted to say, "Yo, you need to get out of there, bad shit's gonna happen and we need your help." So, in 1939, de Viart met with Edward Rydz-Śmigły, but couldn't convince him on the tactic de Viart wanted. So, he asked the Polish fleet to leave the Baltic, which happened, and this was good as the Allies would eventually need them. As resistance to this invasion, you know the one, weakened, de Viart grabbed everyone from the British mission, the Polish government, and drove out of Poland. But the nasties and Reds were in hot pursuit, especially the Luftwaffe, who took a particular hatred to a Cybertruck or whatever, and got a shot to land on one of the men's wives. But he got out with a false passport just before the Allied Prime Minister got assassinated. Like a couple hours before. So, when he was recalled, he took charge of the force sent to occupy Namsos, and to take Trondheim back from the Germans. They landed at Åndalsnes, but de Viart flew over Namsos to make sure everything was good there, to which it was attacked when it landed. Then, the French Alpine troops landed in Namsos, to which the city was destroyed by the Luftwaffe. Despite this, de Viart hobbled along with his troops to Trondheimsfjord, being shelled the entire way. And de Viart already considered this campaign a failure. Trondheim wasn't even considered by the Navy, which was the plan, leaving all the soldiers exposed without really any sense of help whatsoever, not even having skis in 18 inches of snow. The Germans had skis, machine guns, the Luftwaffe, and their navy was surrounding them, to which de Viart was asked to hold his position, to which he agreed for political reasons, of course. London wanted to help, they really did, but they decided to just evacuate the troops. The ships didn't even show up when they were supposed to, but the next night they did show up, getting 2 destroyers sunk. But all soldiers were evacuated just in time for de Viart to celebrate his 60th birthday. He then got sent to Northern Ireland in case of invasion. Then he was told he was too old, and they sent him to Yugoslavia. Germany was just about to invade as well, so on the way there, the engines of the plane decided to fail and crashed right off the coast of Libya, which was controlled by Italy. which I shouldn't have to tell you for an allied general was not a good thing. The men in Devyard swam to shore, to which they were captured. Devyard became a rather famous prisoner of war. He spent 4 months in Villa Orsini, but then he was transferred to a camp for senior officers at Castello de Vincigliata, to which Devyard made good friends with Sir Richard O'Connor and Philip Neame, and was generally regarded as delightful. Lord Ranfurly joined the three, and they devised methods of escape. After a 7-month-long tunneling spree, Devyard disguised himself as an Italian peasant and evaded capture for 8 days. Which, good for him, but how? He didn't speak Italian, he had an eye patch, was elderly, missing an arm, and a whole load of other injuries. He was recaptured, but 2 years later he was sent to Rome. The Italian government wanted out of the war, and wanted Devyard to be their spokesman on a peace treaty. He and an Italian general were to meet the Allies in Lisbon, to which Devyard needed civilian clothes, not whatever the prison uniform looked like, to which he said he didn't want to look like a gigolo. They made him a suit to his liking. They reached Lisbon, getting himself released, and going back to England in August. That same month, he was sent to Churchill's country home, and told he would be sent to China to resolve some of the issues the two nations had, which is a lot and I don't want to get into it. Devyard landed in India waiting for his accommodation in China, but didn't stay terribly long as Chiang Kai-shek of China, President Roosevelt, and Churchill were making a Cairo convention, so he decided to stop by. But he got to Chongqing in December, and fell in love with the Chinese people. He returned to Britain in December of 44, reporting on the Chinese situation, to which he was asked to stay a little bit longer in Chongqing. But he despised the Chinese communists, describing Mao as a fanatic and saying, quote,
"I cannot believe he means business."
He even met Mao at a party, interrupting his speech, and told him that he should have fought the Japanese even more so. So, he went to Burma instead, getting a bridge seat on the Queen Elizabeth, which was bombarding Sabang and fighting the Zeros, but that didn't last terribly long. Anyway, Devyard moved to Nanking, but had to visit Tokyo to meet Douglas MacArthur. Devyard was tired of this war business, however, and he rejected a job offer and retired. Again. On his way home, Devyard stopped in the lovely Rangoon as a guest. He slipped going down the stairs, broke a great majority of his spine, and went unconscious. He didn't die to this, but imagine that's what actually took him out. He was admitted to the hospital, was treated, and went and settled down in Ireland. His wife died in 1949, and in 1951 he remarried to someone 23 years younger than himself, to which he died without leaving any form of papers. His will, however, was valued at £3.5 to £4,000.